In today's class, we are going to be exploring the wave unload and the unload, which both start in the loaded beast position. So before we dive in, we are going to do a little bit of prep just to make sure our body's feeling good. So we are going to start with our wrist mobility. So we're going to do fingers facing out to the side on all fours, and you can jump right in with me. You're keeping your palms on the ground and you're just gently shifting weight side to side. Try and keep those elbows straight and palms flat on the ground. We want to make sure that wrists are feeling good, although we aren't spending, I would say, as much time on our wrists as maybe you would feel if we were in the beast and crab a little bit more. So those wrists will get a little bit of a break today, although naturally we'll be on all fours just because it is animal flow. Go ahead. Next, you're going to come fingers facing forward, and today we're going to try what are called wrist push-ups. So you're going to shift your weight forward just like you would in our mobility sequence, but now you're going to think about lifting those palms off the ground, getting some movement through your actual knuckles or your finger joints, and then letting your palms fall back to the ground. So we're just going to do this for a little bit. Move nice and slow, only add as much weight as you feel comfortable. So the more you shift forward, naturally the more weight's going to be added. Over time, you could do this from a full plank position, but that's not something I want you to worry about too much right now. We just want to get your wrist warm and feeling good to go. Good, a few more. All right, we're going to stay in this all four position and we're going to go into some cat-cows. In cat-cows, hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips, and we're going to go through this nice big kind of arched position where we're sticking our bum to the sky, pulling shoulders back, looking up as much as you feel comfortable, and then we're going to push round. So what we're doing, and you can join me if you haven't yet, is getting our spine moving through extension and flexion, trying to get as much range of motion in our spine as possible. Move nice and slow here. Don't push it past the point where maybe you feel uncomfortable, especially at the top with your head up. I don't want you to feel like you're cranking your neck and putting it into any pain. So only look up a little bit if that's what's most comfortable for you. Let's do one more. Squeeze those shoulder blades together on the arch. Push shoulder blades away from each other as you round. Good. So what we're going to be doing next is starting from what's called the loaded beast. So you've learned the static beast if you did one of the earlier Flow Basics classes. So the loaded beast starts in what is more loaded hip position. And so let me show you what that means. So in the loaded beast, hands are still going to be shoulder width apart. You're still going to be spreading those fingers nice and wide. Our knees are hip width apart, but now we're actually going to think about pressing away from the floor. So my elbows are straight and I'm going to be pushing my shoulders open. And as I do that, naturally I'm going to be letting those knees track out to the side. So my knees actually stay off the ground. So just like with our static beast, knees remain 1 inch from the ground. And I'm just going to show you from the front just so you can see that a little bit more clearly. So in the loaded beast, those knees are pressing out to the side as much as your hips allow. So shoulders should be long. You should be gripping the floor with your fingers to help support that, hopefully not sliding. So make sure you're on a surface that allows you to grip and not slide. Knees are off the ground and pushed out as far as your hips allow. So if you haven't joined me yet, let's just try one together. So set loaded beast. Let's send those hips back, push to the floor, and just hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. So that is going to be a base position for a lot of animal flow movements you learn over the course of you doing these classes. So the next thing we're going to do is called an unload. So you'd set loaded beast, and if I call unload, you're going to do this movement. So let me show it to you once, and then I'll break it down. So set loaded beast, if I were to call unload, I'm pulling myself forward. It's kind of like a modified plank, And then if I call return to loaded beast, I would push those hips back. Now in the unload, there's a few things I want you to think about. You want to keep that core nice and tight. You want to push away from the floor. So you're going to have a slightly rounded or protracted shoulder. The angle in which you lean forward is really going to be determined by A, your strength in your shoulders and your core, but B, your wrist mobility. So I don't have great wrists, so I can only lean forward so far without having to rotate my hands. You might feel like you can lean further than I'm showing you, as long as you're maintaining forward. Another thing to think about is that glutes are squeezed and quads are tight. So I'm going to do it again nice and slow, and I encourage you to come along with me if you feel comfortable. If not, just watch again and then you can jump in. So set loaded beast. Unload. I'm going to keep my elbows straight. I'm going to think about using my back to pull forward. Good. Think about keeping those knees 1 inch from the ground. In this position, hold. You should be pushing through the floor, so shoulders round. Look just slightly in front. Your glute should be squeezed, quads are tight. You should feel that core engaged. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return to loaded beast and relax. So this is a nice way to engage our back as well, and I know I didn't mention that earlier, but just that nature of you pulling yourself forward, that's coming from your shoulders and your back. So just something to keep in mind. It's a nice tool for some of that back development as well. So let's do one more of those together. Let's set loaded beast. Make sure elbows are straight, push armpits to the floor. Unload. Elbows straight, pull yourself forward. Look just in front, squeeze your bum. Make sure you're pushing through the floor so shoulders are slightly rounded. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return to loaded beast and relax. Good job. So do a quick shake out if you need it. I'm going to teach you the second movement, and then we're just going to spend a few minutes cycling back and forth through the two. So the next is a form-specific stretch. So it's a little bit more of a stretch-based movement. I would call the unload a little bit more strength-based than anything. So this might be a nice relief for you if you found that first one tough. So let me show you the wave unload, and then again, I'll break it down. So set loaded beast, wave unload. Return to loaded beast. So the wave unload brings us through a really great transition that gets our shoulders moving, our spine moving, our hips moving. So let me break it down for you. Feel free to watch, or if you feel comfortable following along, totally fine as well. So from set loaded beast, if I call wave unload, it starts by lifting bum to the sky. So this is step 1, bum is to the sky. I'm still pushing those shoulders open. From here, I'm going to shift my weight forward and then start dropping my hips. So you want to think that you're lowering vertebrae by vertebrae from your lower back until you're all the way in this arched position, looking up just slightly, pulling shoulders back. Now, when I call return to loaded beast, it's the opposite. So I'm going to start from my head down. I'm going to tuck my chin, push shoulders around, and then mid-back, and then lower back until I'm back, hips to the sky, and I can sit my hips back, okay? Move slowly with this one. Again, think about it like a vertebrae by vertebrae movement. So you want to think on the way forward or down, you're starting with your lower back and working up, and then when you're returning to loaded beast, you start from the top of your spine, so your neck, all the way down to your hips. So I'm going to do one more, walking through it with you. So let's set loaded beast. Wave unload, bum to the sky, hips up, shoulders open. Start shifting that weight forward, let your hips drop. So bum down first, then mid back, and then squeeze those shoulders back as you look up slightly. Good, hold. Return to loaded beast. So tuck that chin, push your shoulders around, and then mid back, and then low back as you send your hips back. And relax. Awesome, good job. So what we're gonna do now is just spend a few more minutes practicing those two movements. What's gonna happen, I'm just gonna call out, alternating the wave unload and the unload. So follow along with my calls. I'll be doing it with you so you can always take a peek to see what I'm up to. But this is just getting you practicing those two different movements. All right, here we go. Let's set loaded beast. Wave unload. Nice and slow here. Make sure you're breathing. Return to loaded beast. Unload. Knees nice and low. Push those shoulders around. Squeeze your bum. Make sure you're breathing. Return to loaded beast. Wave unload. Hips up. Shift weight forward. Hips drop. Pull those shoulders back. Look up just slightly. Return to loaded beast. Chin down. Push those shoulders around. Sit those hips back. And unload nice and slow. Pull yourself forward. Squeeze your bum. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return to loaded beast and relax. All right, so those were your new movements for today. Feel free to spend some time going through that again. So you can rewind and listen to me calling it out, or you can just play with it at whatever kind of pace and volume feels best for you for today.